again, everyone. I just wanted to show you the notebooks or traveler's notebooks that I am using on a daily basis. So in addition to these, I have some others more specialized notebooks. I guess some of these are still kind of specialized, but I don't necessarily use them every day. These four notebooks I'm pretty much using just about every day. And I'm not showing you the fountain pen dedicated notebooks because those actually get used quite frequently, but probably not every day. So I will show you these and what each one is used for. And I think I have a video for pretty much all of these. Where there are some differences, I'll point them out today. But this one is the primary notebook. I'll put these, stack these up so that we can get to those in turn. So this one is my primary everyday carry. If I were actually leaving the house on a regular basis, this is the notebook that I would take. Everything else would stay at home, but this one would come with me everywhere. And this is a combination calendar and bullet journal. And I will refer you to the video down below that I've put a link to that goes into this setup and kind of how I've changed it. I'm gonna put below the link to the most recent video where I go through this setup, but just real quickly I will flip through. So here we have collections. This is a little zip folio, and then I have a Jabun days in the back. And then I have my dedicated fountain pen and all of that. And this has been working great. This setup has been working great. I'm really, really happy with it. And like I said, you get a full flip through and information about all of the stuff in here in that video below. Okay, so there's that one. And then this one is what is now my gratitude journal. I will put a link down below. I'll put a link down below to every video, but I'll probably say it again and again. I'm going to put a link down below to the video where I go through my plans for gratitude journaling for 2021. And I am in the setup that I indicated there. I've just put it into a different traveler's notebook. So this is an old retired Chic Sparrow. It is the Dr. Jones with a front pocket. I moved into this one because I wasn't using it for anything else, and I really wanted to put it into use because I really love it. And it's very sturdy. The leather is very sturdy. It doesn't scratch very easily. From time to time, you can still find these used on eBay or buy-sell trade groups or resale sites. Sometimes you can find them, but they're kind of rare. And one of the other reasons why I wanted to use this, in addition to it not being used, and I really love it, is because it doesn't have any inside pockets, and I really don't need inside pockets for this gratitude journal. So this is a 5-year diary by Midori, and I go into it more in depth in that video that I've linked to. But and the setup is the same, but I'll show you a few pages in it because there's probably plenty of stuff that I feel fine showing to you. But I don't need any inside pockets for this. So this is perfect because it just holds this book perfectly. This is a B6 Slim. My everyday carry, which I just put off to the side, is also a B6 Slim. B6 Slim is pretty much my favorite size notebook, and I use it for a lot of different purposes. So let's see, what else about this do I want to talk about? So it has the same fountain pen. I've actually waffled a little bit about which fountain pen to use, but I came back to this Sailor Pro Gear Mini in blush pink because I just really love it and it writes well. I've actually, since I showed this last, I have tuned and smoothed this pen a little bit, and what I mean by that is I've smoothed out the nib on some micro mesh. So once I finally got the nerve to use my micro mesh, I am like using it on everything. Like anything that is just a little bit scratchy or a little too thin of a line, I am like smoothing it with my micro mesh, and the results have been amazing every time. So those of you who were like me and were afraid of using micro mesh, no fear, it's actually not that intimidating once you get started with it. But yeah, and I tuned the nib a little bit to have more of a wet flow. So it actually writes a little bit more like a medium now instead of a medium fine. But let's see, let me actually look in here and see if there's one that I can show you. Oh, yeah, I can show you both of these actually. So, so every day I am putting what I am grateful for, and I have done it every day, very consistently. So I'm pretty happy about that. Once I actually go back to an office, hopefully I'll still, which hopefully will happen sometime this year. I hopefully will still be able to keep up with it because I don't plan on carrying this around. It's just going to stay at my desk. But since I do have it at my desk, it's really easy to pick up every day and just write in it what I'm grateful for. And this is with this pen. And as you can see, the line is a little bit broader than a medium fine, I would say. But here I'm just grateful for lazy days on the couch. This was a Sunday, and we got to be fairly lazy on the couch, which was really nice. And I am grateful for the peaceful, boring life Stefan and I share. That's my husband. I actually got some news about a friend of mine who is having a rough time in her family life, and it just made, I mean, I feel really horrible for her, and I hope I am there for her, but it also made me really grateful for the peaceful and boring life that I have with my husband, and we have relatively few problems. I mean, everybody has problems, but our problems are somewhat minor compared to my friend, unfortunately, right now. So let's see. I'm going to look and see if I can show you some other pens that I used in here. Oh, yeah. So here I'm grateful for continuing to lose weight on Noom. That's been going well. This is the Ink Institute Jade Vine ink in a in the TWSBI. No, not TWSBI. The Kaweco Sport that I converted to an eyedropper pen. This is working quite well. This paper, actually, I've tried a few different pens and a few different inks on it. This Midori paper actually works quite well. There's not a lot of bleed through. You can see here there's writing on the back of this page, and there's not really any bleed through, so that's nice. It works quite well. It's off-white, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Okay, so here we go. This is with yet a different pen and ink. This ink is Mont Blanc Toffee Brown, and I believe that this isn't a TWSBI. This is in my TWSBI Diamond Rose Gold. Smoke Rose Gold. Boy, that's a hard one to say. But it's a thinner pen, and you can see, again, there's like no bleed through from the prior page. Everything's been working pretty well in here, and that's part of why I wanted to try different things to see what works best. I still have this cover, this plastic cover over the top of this book. This is the embroidery themed book. Again, if you go to the link down below, you'll get more of a flip through of this 5-year diary, and why I wanted to use this specifically for my gratitude journal. But one of the plus sides to having this plastic cover on is I put just a generic pen loop with an elastic pen loop here with a sticky back. Just got it off of Amazon. So I attached it to this plastic cover because this notebook does not have a pen loop. So it's really working quite nicely. I thought it was a little plain at first, and then when I put this little charm on here, this is a bead from Summer Wind on Etsy, it just brightened up the whole notebook, and I really liked it, and it had some of the pink color that's in the pen and on the notebook, so I felt like it kind of tied everything together. It still sometimes gives off a little bit of wood shavings from the hole that was drilled, but it works quite well. Okay, that's enough of that one. And this one you've definitely seen before. This is my YouTube journal, which I generally use daily or almost daily. This one's probably a cheat. I don't necessarily use this one every single day, but most days I do use it because I do film videos quite often. Basically, the videos that I film are kind of taking up the time that I would be commuting to and from work. Again, my video frequency will probably go down once I go back to an office because I won't be here where all my stuff is and a readily available environment to go ahead and do filming. So just FYI, whenever that happens, that's what's going to happen. But I'm not even really going to go through here because it's kind of, you know, some of it I don't want you to know about yet. So I'm not going to go through this, but I will refer you to the video below where I went through and did a flip through of this. It's still the same setup. I did have to switch out one of the notebooks, but it's the same brand of notebook that I'm using because I filled one up, and it's another Summer Wind charm on here. I have my Sailor in the Promenade fountain pen that I got from Amazon in here. So that's interesting. I'm using 2 Sailor pens as my everyday writing. That's sort of interesting. And this one I actually smoothed as well with my micro mesh. All right. Oops, now my stack is getting too big. That's falling over here. Let me try and get that balanced. All right, and this is really the last notebook that I am using truly every day. And this is my Some Lines a Day journal. Oh, really quickly, in case you don't actually go to the video, this is a Chic Sparrow Penelope in a narrow with the old style, old style at this point, pen loop and pockets. I'll just open it real quick and show you the pockets like that. I clearly am loving this color because this is the non-Odyssey version. So these are all pretty much retired, unfortunately. The Odyssey is retired, the Odyssey line is retired, and this is more of a distressed version of this leather, which is the burgundy and or Drummond leather, which I have my everyday carry-in, which I'm loving, and still am not out of yet. Okay. And then, oh, it's all Chic Sparrow too. That's kind of interesting. So this is a special edition leather. It was called the Doctor, which is sort of like an Outlander version leather, and Outlander is also retired. But this one's pretty limited in how many they made. I have the little pen loop that came with it over it. This is an A5 folio. The folio sizing from Chic Sparrow kind of varied a lot depending on which version you get. This one does fit the 5-year Some Lines a Day from Leuchtturm. Not all of the A5 folios will fit the 5-year. So that's just something from Chic Sparrow. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I'll show you. See, it's, oh, this is actually getting a little, I probably should polish that up. But it has sort of a different style folio pocket. Front, yeah, okay, this just has my name in it, so that's okay. And I started this in 2019, so I'm on my 3rd year of this Some Lines a Day journal. And it's working really well. I've had it in the same notebook the whole time. Because the leather is chrome tanned, it doesn't fade in the sun, because I sometimes will have it out on my desk. It just, it's become sort of like a very comforting notebook. And again, I won't show you the inside. I will refer you to my prior video on this setup. I will just tell you real quickly, and this is the same pen that is in the video below, but this is a Pilot Vanishing Point in the dark blue. This pen, I have not really talked about this pen very much, but it's basically one of my all-time favorites. It's in a medium-sized nib. It's super bouncy and lovely to write with. Basically, I write with it every day, and I've written with it every day for, you know, going on 3 years now. And this pen has always been associated with this notebook, and I don't see taking it out of here anytime soon because I just think it's like the perfect setup. And I really do like the Leuchtturm 5 years a day paper for this purpose, this pen, and I just have a blue-black Pilot cartridge in here. You can put a converter in these vanishing points, but it has such a small capacity that if I find an ink I like in the cartridges, I just use that. So this year I'm using blue-black. I try to use a different color every year just so that I can differentiate when I'm writing, because sometimes I'll go over a little bit into the next box for the next year. So that's why I try to switch up my ink every year. But this pen is great. It works great with this paper. All of the inks I've tried, the only one that was troublesome, I might have written with a different fountain pen for just a short period of time with a Noodler's ink. It had Noodler's Lexington Gray, and Again, as I've said in previous videos, I don't really recommend noodlers anymore, mostly because of the bleeding, lack of drying, and personal politics of the company. There's just to me, there's too many issues to buy it or recommend it anymore. The one I used in here was Lexington Gray, which is actually the best performing of all of the Noodler's inks that I have, but it bled a lot on this paper. So the Leuchtturm paper has worked great with all of the Pilot inks that I've tried with it in this pen. Okay, so let's get these back out. And it seems like I also sort of have a dark theme going on. It's not necessarily, it wasn't necessarily something I did on purpose. I had a brighter notebook affiliated with this before, as you'll see in the video if you take a look at that. But like I said, this is one of my beloved notebooks, and I just felt so bad with it in a drawer not being used, so I wanted to go ahead and use it for something that would be suitable, and this is indeed suitable. Because this is a 5-year notebook, we'll see after the first year whether I want to keep up the gratitude journaling for next year, because it does have years that you can fill in yourself. You can stop for a year or and then pick it up again the next year, which I quite like. So this is the test year, the first year in this notebook, to see if I like it, and so far I have been. It's actually been really nice to think about what I'm grateful for every day, and it does lift my mood a little bit, so that's nice too. This setup is probably not going to be changing anytime soon. I really like the Jabun Days, as I've said before, and I really like having the collections in a separate notebook. This setup is working fantastically. This setup is also working fantastically as my YouTube journal. If you go to the link below, the video in the link below will show you how I have this set up. Some notebooks will get used more frequently. I'm already actually approaching the end of the same dedicated notebook in here that I already had to replace once. So we'll see. And again, this one has been in here for going on 3 years, and it's been great, and I love it, and it fits perfectly in here, so I don't think it's ever going to end up in a different notebook. And in fact, at the end of the 5 years, I'm not sure, it's way too early to decide if at the end of the 5 years that I do this, whether I will do it again with another 5-year notebook. But I think I'll probably keep it in this notebook and just leave it on the shelf in this notebook when I do that. And then if I do end up doing it again, I'll pick something new out for the next 5 years. So, and that's probably true of this one as well. All right, so that's all I had for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you have any questions about any of these, feel free to ask, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. I hope to see you next time, but until then, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.